Fast food giant Wendy's plans to close hundreds of its U.S. stores next year as part of a broader effort to revive its domestic business, which has been under pressure from slowing sales. Interim CEO Ken Cook said during the company's earnings call on Friday that a mid-single digit percentage of its 6,011 U.S. restaurants are expected to close next year. A mid-single digit percentage is about 4 to 6%, which means the least number of closures would be 241 stores. This comes as Wendy's executive said that its business and sales remain under pressure and it is acting with urgency to return sales as its US stores at its US stores to growth. In its latest fiscal quarter, global sales were down 2.6% and sales at US locations fell 4.7%. The company blamed the drop in US sales largely on fewer customer visits, though this was partially offset by higher spending per order. However, the company said in its earnings call that it is making meaningful progress on key actions to enhance the customer experience. And it is seeing that pay off in its U.S. company operated restaurants. Earlier this year, the company said it was working on simplifying its programming and execution. Rather than adding more stores, the company is trying to focus on increasing sales at each U.S. location. To do this, Wendy's launched Project Fresh, a major plan that was designed to improve performance, boost its sales, and ensure viability. Yeah, Wendy's story isn't unique. In fact, the entire quick service restaurant sector has come under pressure. At its core, customers feel strained by higher living costs, which are shrinking their discretionary income. This has forced many industry giants to ramp up promotions in an effort to drive more traffic. Will Auchincloss, who serves as the EY Parthenians America's retail sector leader, previously told Fox Business that its consumer research points to the fact that Americans are beginning to adjust discretionary spending to offset rising costs for essential goods and services like food and housing. Restaurant spending across all income cohorts is the first to take a hit, he said. With nearly 40% of lower income households already pulling back, recent quick service restaurant price cuts may be a signal of a broader industry shift, he said, adding that brands are facing mounting pressure from value-conscious consumers, and if this trend accelerates, we could see a realignment of pricing strategies across the sector. Excuse me. You know, there was a time, not even 5 years ago, during the virus and in the years before that, where Wendy's, along with Burger King, were the two main fast food places I would go to. And I would go there multiple times a week with different relatives. If you were to ask me, why did you stop going there? It all ties to two reasons. One, they're not as close to me as I used to. I don't live in the same place anymore. But also the price as well. I will never believe it makes any sense to pay $16 for a single burger with some subpar fries and a big drink that's mostly a bunch of ice that gets thrown to you from a window at a place you drive through, and that doesn't add up to me. And I feel that same way about any place where a single burger by itself is like over $10. I think that's completely insane. So the story of Wendy's is not unique, right? We've been hearing about the different closures. I didn't do a video on them, but Jack in the Box is closing a bunch of places too. I find it so sad because I really believe that all of this problem, because we're hearing about the discretionary spending of people, and it's like, listen, there are a lot of people when they're just trying to get by. Yeah, they're going to cut what types of food they buy. Right, they're going to look at, okay, this burger from over here is like $10. Are they crazy? It's like $13. Just nuts. But I believe the only way they can address this would be if they either reduced the cost of their food, or they did something like the market does. And when I say the market, I'm referring to places like Ralph's, where they'll have these deals where, hey, if you buy, two burgers, you get two off. Of course, Ralph's doesn't have that specific deal, but the idea there is that, if you're because we're often told, oh, the reason fast food costs so much is because of the demand. Well, the demand clearly isn't there if you guys are, about to shut down at a minimum hundreds of stores across America. So what they should do again is have deals where if you order one or two of something, you can get twice of it, or for the same price. I think that would help them if they you know actually gave people something that felt like it had some value. Not any of that stupid stuff from McDonald's where they have a value menu, right? The $5 menu, but the joke that we all tell ourselves when we kind of go over to that place is that the food is so damn small that you would have to pay probably 5 times 5 just to get enough stuff to like last you for a day or two. That's like, because just it's so itty bitty. I before McDonald's, I'd never been somewhere where it took 3 burgers to not have me feel as if I was just still hungry, within 2 or 3 hours. So I think they'd be better off if they lowered their prices, or at a minimum did some deals to get people to feel like they were getting more for their money. They're just not able to really pick up on, and like this is kind of where I tried to argue with some of the other people. So the thing about food, right, is that it's a competitive market, and I've said even like the food in the grocery store I think is ridiculously priced as well, and I've gone over some examples of that here. But when you're in a market where everyone is just trying to get something to eat, you have to be able to find a way to appeal to those people who otherwise have turned their back on going to places like yours because they don't think they're getting anything worth the money that they're spending. So if someone were to go to Wendy's and, oh man, this burger I want to get, if I order one of these I can get a second one for free, or if I order two of these I can get two for free. Oh man, four for the price of two. If I think if they tried something like that, it would they might see their sales go up. And I know that their argument is like, oh, it's going to be a waste of money, or how do I put it? They obviously, with corporate greed, they're going to try to do anything to make themselves some more coins, right? But if your stuff gets so expensive that no one, or a majority of people, are not going to get it, right? You've seen your sales decrease. It's panic mode time. It's time to really seriously evaluate, okay, if people are not buying our crap anymore to the extent that we would like, we need to do something urgent and serious. So I would like to see them, learn from their errors, but I don't think they will. I think they're gonna do the same thing that a lot of these other places, Denny's and the rest of them are doing, where they close down some stores. They call themselves, trying to improve when they really are not going to improve. And then after about, I'd say, another few years of having sales just continue to diminish, going through different CEOs and guys in suits that really don't give a damn one way or the other because they know they're going to have a job at the end of the day. They're just going to transfer to another company. Then after years of just no heightened sales, they'll probably end up shutting down. It is not a good sign for a company to close down hundreds of stores. Same thing with Starbucks. I think Starbucks is like the drink equivalent to a lot of these fast food places, where it used to be that people would like go into somewhere like that and sit down, and the whole like culture of having your little drink and being in one of these different places. But now everything is like by the drive-through and grab this and grab, and it's like people are not willing to do that, a lot of them, for an overpriced uh you know espresso or whatever. So it's the same thing where there's, as long as it's like a fast service and it costs as much as it does, I think they're going to keep on failing. And if they don't want to improve, then I really can't feel sorry for them.